Today we're going to be talking about the best drills for wide receivers to do in 2024. So this first drill is going to work on your violent hip drop at the top of like a route, like a curl, comeback, dig, anything where you have to sit down and drop your hips. Because on every single route, what are we trying to sell? We're trying to make the DB think we're running a fade, trying to get him to backpedal. Now it's much easier said than done to do that and then change direction on a dime. So your hip drop has to be violent. We have to get to this 90-degree spot as fast as we can. And that requires single leg strength and single leg ankle stability, which is what this drill works on. So you're going to stand on one foot, hands are going to be above your head like so, and all you're going to do, you're going to treat like you're holding maybe a barbell over the top of your head, and you're going to try to slam this barbell on the ground. Now, as you slam it on the ground, you're going to switch your feet, you are going to drop down and hold a 90-degree angle. Think of it like with your hands, you were trying to tie your shoelaces and you're trying to hold this 90-degree position, then you're going to pop back up, hands above the head, and do the exact same thing again. So you want to work, I would say, about 2 sets of 6 reps on each leg. I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. Now, before we get into this second drill, you guys, if you're a wide receiver and you guys would like a daily workout schedule to follow, check out that very first link in the description below for our elite wide receiver training package. You can get access to 2 months of daily gym and on-field workouts all mapped out for you. It'll be Monday you're doing this, Tuesday you're doing that, Wednesday this. We give you exact examples, so video examples of each drill, sets and reps, and examples of each gym exercise wide receivers specifically should be doing. Also, we throw in a 1-month-long speed development program because speed is one of the most important attributes that wide receivers can have. So if you guys want some more information on that, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. Now, this next drill is also going to be working on our hip drop at the top of the break, but it's going to be more a full speed version than the last drill. So I call this our 3-cone 90-degree hip drop drill. So you're going to start out, you need a starting point cone. You're going to burst up and your next cone is going to be about 5 yards away. And at this cone, you're going to do just a quick, sudden hip drop. The goal is to stay on the ball of my feet, sit my butt down to decelerate, and then I'm going to re-accelerate to the second cone. Then at the second cone, I'm gonna do the same thing, drop my hips. Then at the third cone, you're gonna have 2 cones set up with maybe about, like I would say, 1 yard or 2 yards of space in between. You're bursting up to this cone, same type of hip drop that we had on the first 2 cones, but my hands are gonna stay active. I'm gonna accelerate through the middle. You can have a quarterback give you a ball, or we could just run and accelerate out if you don't have a QB. But I'm gonna show you how this drill should look full speed to work on my hip drop running from a full speed position. This next drill is going to be working on a move that all wide receivers need to learn called a rocker step. So a rocker step is like something you could use on a post route, for example. So let's say I'm running a post. Let's say the quarterback is to the inside. Normally what I do is I would cut off on my outside foot, break to the inside, ball's going to be right there. So a rocker step is where you would step in the direction you are going first. It's like a 1-2 at the top of the break. So you would go 1, fake outside like you're selling corner, and then break back to the inside. So this drill works on that 1-2 at the top of the break. So you need 5 cones for this drill, and I call this a 5-cone rocker step drill. So you come off the ball, you need a starting point cone here and then 5 additional cones. So set go on the 3rd step of bursting up, almost like a 3-step slant. That's going to start the consecutive rocker step. So it's 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd step, that's the first part of this drill. So I'm going from cone 1, I'm pushing to cone 2, 3, 4, 5, coming out. So the reason why we do these 5 cones back to back is because on a rocker step, to be able to sell to the outside, let's say I do that inside step first, I have to push off of this inside arch ball of the foot. So going from cone to cone, you should be emphasizing pushing off that inside step, being loose with my upper half, because that's what a DB is watching. He's watching my hips, so we have to sell the movement with my hips. So we're gonna show you how this drill should look full speed. I recommend doing about 5 to 6 reps of this on each side. Now this next drill is for wide receivers to work on their speed cut at the top of the route. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have routes in your playbooks, more specifically like an out route, where you're running like a 10-yard speed out. So you're the slot receiver, you could also run this from the outside. You're running a 10-yard out, and my outside receiver is running like a vertical route, right? But at 10 yards, it's a speed cut out. It's a timing route from the quarterback. So you don't go up to 10, break down, and then come out, because that means you're gonna be losing speed. Yeah, you can still get in and out of that as fast as possible, but you breaking down will make you lose speed. Usually on a 10-yard speed out, you're cutting at 8 and you are rounding up to 10 and then flattening this thing out at 10. So this drill is working on that rounded cut, us staying low on that rounded cut so we can make a sharper speed cut. So what you're gonna do is you need a series of maybe about like 10, 12 cones, and you need to set up like a half circle in a sense. So you're gonna start out starting point cone. On your 2nd step, that's gonna be the speed cut. So set go, you're gonna go 1, 2. On the 2nd step, on your speed cut step, and this is what you wanna do at the top of the route, you want a 40 45-degree angle turn with that cut, because that will help you get your hips out of this break. What you're gonna do, stay low, slightly dip your right shoulder, and you are going to hug these cones and run as tight as you can to them all the way around this circle to work on that speed cut break, making your speed cut at 8 to 10, or maybe if you're running like a 5-yard speed cut out, that much easier because you won't have to go, obviously, all the way around. So I recommend doing 5 sets where you're cutting off your left foot, then 5 sets where you're cutting off your right foot. I'm gonna show you how this should look full speed. Now, one of the most important aspects of the wide receiver position is going to be speed. So this drill is going to be working on our speed and, more importantly, our foot strike. So many athletes, when they run, they strike the ground very flat-footed. Maybe they're not even striking the ground on their heels, but when they cut, they will cut on the ball of their foot and their heel starts to cave down. They lack ankle stability and they lack proper foot strike mechanics. When we strike the ground with speed, you guys, we want to strike on the ball of my foot, and I want to be able to snap my knee up, snap my toe up, and not have a heel cave. So this drill works on our foot strike and getting used to running on the ball of my feet. So you're gonna start out at starting point line. You're only gonna do this for about 5 to 8 yards, but this is called a straight-legged run. So your legs are gonna be completely straight. All you're gonna do is have a slight lean forward, and you are just going to run with straight legs and have your hands and your feet working for 8 yards. I recommend doing probably about, I would say, 4 to 5 sets of 8 yards, but when you do this, if you're on your heels or you're striking flat-footed, you're not gonna go anywhere. So it forces us to have to be on the ball of my foot. You might feel this a little bit in your calves and your ankles. That's a good thing. So like I said, 4 to 5 sets of about that 5 to 8 yard space. I'm gonna show you how this should look full speed. Now this next drill is going to be for wide receivers working on their hands, but they don't have a quarterback to throw to them all the time. So anytime that I catch you guys, we never want to let the ball bounce off of my palms. We want to stay in the webbing of my hands, which is not like necessarily the fingertips, because that's how you would jam your finger. But you want to stay in the webbing of your hands, your fingers. That's the strongest part of your hand. But to be consistent with that and have those like soft hands where you don't hear it hit your palms, you need to have something called grip strength. And this is an easy drill that only requires a football to work on your grip strength. So I call this tiny catches around a football, and you want to do 3 sets of 100 reps. I know that seems like a lot, but it's really not that much, especially when you see this drill. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab the football in your fingertips, and all you're gonna do is work your hand all the way around this football. And you wanna try to get 100 reps in a row. If you drop the football, you have to completely start over. So we're gonna do that, and I'll show you how that should look full speed without the drop. But again, 3 sets of 100 reps on each hand, keeping that ball away from the palm so you guys can work on that grip strength element to be a better pass catcher.